History remembers Napoleon Bonaparte as the ruthless conqueror of Europe, a man whose ambition reshaped nations. But behind the crown, behind the empires, existed a man entirely vulnerable, consumed by love for one woman, Josephine. Tonight, we will dive into one of Napoleon's most passionate letters, written during his Italian campaign in 1796. You will hear his own words, full of longing, obsession, jealousy, and tenderness. After the letter, we will explore the story behind these words, the battles, the emotions, and the turbulent love affair that shaped one of history's most fascinating figures. So, prepare yourself. First, let us enter Napoleon's mind through the words he sent to Josephine.
Now, here is Napoleon's letter to Josephine. Listen closely and imagine the world he lived in while writing these words. My beloved Josephine, I wake filled with thoughts of you, and your portrait stares at me from my desk as if to remind me of the sweetness I have lost in your absence. Every moment without you feels like an eternity. How strange it is that in the midst of cannon fire, the cries of men dying, and the smoke of battle, my heart can feel only your presence. The night we spent together lingers in my memory, as if time itself had stopped. Your laugh, your gaze, your very breath, these haunt me, torment me, and yet give me life. How I long to be near you, to hold your hand, to feel the warmth of your body against mine. My soul trembles with desire, and yet with fear, for I know not what fate awaits us. Ah, Josephine, my divine one, you leave me no rest. I imagine your smile, your steps in the palace corridors, the soft whisper of your voice calling my name. My mind is a storm of your image, and my heart beats only for you. How cruel it is that distance and duty should separate us. I cannot eat, I cannot sleep, for thoughts of you consume me. I dream of you in the quiet of the night, and I wake with the same longing that has accompanied me since the day I left for Italy. Each letter I write seems a poor substitute for your presence, but it is all I can give. Do you know, Josephine, that I am jealous? Perhaps I should not speak it, but the thought of you with another, even in laughter or in casual company, torments me beyond words. My heart feels every shadow of doubt, every whisper that is not mine alone. If I could command the world, I would tear it apart for you, to ensure that your eyes meet mine alone. Yet, even in my jealousy, even in my torment, my love remains undiminished. It grows stronger, fueled by the longing that will not be soothed by time or distance. When I am victorious in battle, it is as if that victory belongs to you, for you are the sun that lights my life. How I wish I could see you now, Josephine. I would hold you in my arms, never letting go. Every kiss, every touch would be a promise that my heart is yours alone. Think of me as I think of you, and know that no distance, no war, no power can change the devotion I bear for you. Farewell, my beloved. Keep my heart as I keep yours, and remember that I am yours entirely, madly, and forever. Nothing in this world can separate my soul from yours, for you are my life, my happiness, and my destiny. Yours in passion and eternity, Napoleon.
Now that we have heard Napoleon's words, let us pause to understand the story behind them. At this time, Napoleon was only 26 years old. He had recently married Josephine, a widow of Parisian society, while commanding the French army in Italy. His days were filled with war, strategy, and chaos. Yet, his letters reveal a man consumed not by power or glory, but by love, a love that borders on obsession. Notice his jealousy. Napoleon knew that Josephine could be charming, but he did not know the full extent of her attentions toward other men. And yet he pours his heart into these letters, begging for her loyalty, clinging to her memory, and imagining her every movement. Contrast this with the life outside his tent. Soldiers dying in the mud, cannon fire tearing through cities, cities trembling under siege. Napoleon's mind, instead of being focused entirely on the battlefield, is captivated by love. This is the irony. The most powerful general in Europe, yet powerless against longing, doubt, and the desire for a woman's affection. Throughout his letters, we see extremes: tender longing, passionate obsession, jealous anger, and poetic devotion. He writes of kisses, of touch, of longing, but interweaves fear and insecurity. And this is what makes them timeless. Even the greatest conquerors are human, and love exposes that humanity. Josephine, for her part, did not always return this devotion in kind. She mingled with admirers in Paris, and though she loved Napoleon to some degree, she did not share his obsession. Yet Napoleon's words show he cannot live without her. He defines his victories, his life, and his identity through her presence. These letters were also political tools. Napoleon, young and ambitious, needed Josephine's connection to Parisian society. But they are so personal, so intimate, that centuries later, we still feel the intensity of his emotions. And there is another layer: the contrast of war and romance. Imagine standing in freezing tents, hearing the groans of injured soldiers, the whistling of cannonballs, and yet writing to the woman you love with the delicacy of a poet. His mind is divided between duty and passion, bloodshed and tenderness, empire and heart. Napoleon's devotion even survived the end of his marriage. Years later, he divorced Josephine because she could not bear him an heir. Yet, on his deathbed on St. Helena, his last words included her name. She remained the sun around which his heart revolved, long after the world around him had crumbled.
This letter, read in full, is not just a relic of love. It is a confession, a window into the soul of a man who conquered nations but could not conquer his own heart. We remember Napoleon for empires and battles, yet through these words we remember him for his vulnerability, for his humanity, and for a love so powerful that it shaped decisions, actions, and ultimately, history itself. If you enjoyed this journey into history's secret letters, subscribe for more stories that reveal the private lives behind public figures, the hidden emotions behind the crowns, and the timeless lessons written not in treaties, but in hearts.